Hi, I'd like to make a few comments about human embryology and why human embryology is so important. I also teach biodynamic craniosacral therapy and human embryology at the Santa Barbara Graduate Institute, and this is located in Santa Barbara, California. I've been teaching there for about 5 or 6 years, and I'm teaching in the pre and perinatal psychology doctoral programs. And it's really very, very important, very interesting work to understand that human embryology is an essential component in human development. Now, this may seem like a very simple statement, yet it's very profound. The science behind human development has shown that stress can imprint the female egg. Stress can also imprint the male sperm. These stress imprints get passed along before conception, they get passed along after conception, and unless we have a very stress-free pregnancy, and unless we have a very stress-free childhood, these imprints can affect human development and cause very serious and significant disorders and diseases. You can have a very poor outcome at birth, a very heavy, difficult medicalized birth. You can have infant mortality rates that are also beginning to climb as a result of these very early imprinting on the embryo and on the fetus. We also know that as a result that you have these long-term disabilities such as heart disease, diabetes, and obesity. And these are coming directly from the embryo and even the imprinting that occurs on the embryo way before conception. And we have a manual therapy now called Biodynamic Craniosacral therapy that's being practiced worldwide that can begin to help remove, eliminate, or at least reduce these imprints throughout the lifespan. So next year, and next year being 2012, and in September, in the early fall of 2012, I will be coming back here to Italy in order to teach a course called Preconception and the Early Metabolic Fields in Biodynamic Practice. So there's a really simple question here. What is an early metabolic field? And I think we have to begin to answer that question by making a much broader statement. And the broader statement would be that why and how do we connect with the embryo as it exists in the adult? Because this is really what we're saying in biodynamic practice, that you can actually contact the forces of growth and development that were present in the early embryo right now in the adult body. And this is what is possible through the practice of working with the various tidal forces and the various tidal potencies that are practiced all throughout craniosacral therapy. So now, what is a metabolic field? Well, a metabolic field is simply a shape of wholeness. It's the easiest way to describe a metabolic field. In other words, in this practice, we work with sensing the wholeness of the individual and reconnecting any person, whether it's an infant, a child, or an adult, with their unique individual wholeness. And the way we do this is through the wholeness of these fields of fluid activity. And so we have several early metabolic fields in the embryo, such as a field that just breathes and then exhales. And it does that throughout the whole body. And then we also have forces that are expanding and contracting slightly differently and in different types of shapes. But these are all shapes of wholeness, and that's why we study the early metabolic fields, so that when you have your hands on your client, you can actually feel the embryo that's present in the adult, and then allow this wholeness to express itself more fully. And this is what heals the nervous system, and this is what heals the cardiovascular system and makes us whole and brings meaning to our life.